Hey everybody, Don Georgevich here with Job Interview Tools. Did you know that interviewers are watching you? That's exactly the question that I got from one of my subscribers. He writes in and he says, hey Don, I'm in the interview and these interviewers, some of them don't say anything. They just sit and look at me and take notes. They don't ask questions and I feel kind of awkward around them. Well, I'll tell you, those interviewers who are just sitting there, not saying a word and taking notes, what they're doing is they're watching you. They're observing you. And that's called a partner interviewer or a tandem interviewer. They are there to support the primary interviewer. You see, from the interviewer's point of view, and this is just human behavior in general, but when someone's doing all the talking and doing all the listening, they can't focus on other aspects that are going on in the interview. So if I'm just doing all the talking, I can't really pay attention as closely to what you're saying because I'm planning what I want to say next. So I might ask you a question and then you'll give me your answer. And while you're giving me your answer, I'm kind of only half listening. And this really isn't just me. This is just a limitation of human behavior. So I'm listening, but I'm also preparing what I want to say next. And so while I'm preparing what I want to say next, I can't focus entirely on what you're saying. So I miss half of it. And I miss some of your body language. I miss how you're giving that answer to me. I don't really hear the enthusiasm in your voice. Maybe I don't see the posture that you're presenting your answer with. But this other interviewer that I have over here, the observer, they're observing all of that. They're listening to what you say, how you say it. They're watching your hands. They're watching your eyes. They're watching if you take notes. They're watching if you're kind of slouched over in your chair. They're looking at you. They're observing you from every possible angle. And then what they do is after the interview, that partner interviewer and the main interviewer, they sit down and they compare notes. And the person who's doing all that observing is seeing you in a different light. And they're catching all the things that the primary interviewer missed. So it's not a bad thing if you see somebody like that in the interview. Just know that they're serious, that they're professional interviewers. Because I'll tell you, most people who interview for jobs, they're really not that well crafted in the art of interviewing. I mean, yes, there are some, but most people who interview, most hiring managers, they're really not that good at it. They may act like it, but they're really not that good. And there's only a few people out there, a few companies out there who are really sharp enough to go in there with a tandem interviewer and interview you and watch you and just get a better feeling for how you're going to be able to work in this role. Are you really excited to be there? Do you want to be there? Or, are you like, kind of drifting off and not looking at them when you're talking to them? That other interviewer there, that second interviewer, is going to pick up on all those little subtleties. So if you come across this again, you want to try to pay them some attention too. I mean, you can look at them. Don't worry about it if they're not talking to you or they seem to be ignoring you. But just know that they're observing you and just do the best you can. Be the best version of yourself that you can be in that interview, and everything will be fine. Now, before your next interview, head on over. I got a gift for you here. Head on over to jobinterviewtools.com. Download the top 10 questions. These top 10 questions are going to help you on your next interview. They're going to cover questions like, tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work here? Why should we hire you? It's good stuff in here. It's jobinterviewtools.com/top10. It's a free book. It's a wonderful book, if I do say so myself. It gets downloaded a lot every day, and it really helps a lot of people go farther in the interview process and make a stronger connection with the hiring manager in the interview. Because when you're giving answers that are tailored to what the hiring manager is looking for in this open position, it's just going to help you go farther. It's going to separate you from all the other people who are interviewing for that same job. All right, that's all I got for you today. Good luck on your next interview. And if they're watching you, don't worry about it. Just ignore them. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.